ट्रक के अंदर में भी थोड़ा लाइट होना चाहिए था विकी भाई।
चलो क्या
यस यस रेडी।
लंबा
एक विकी 1 मिनट दे दीजिए।
मार्क कर लीजिए।
मार्क मैं आपको फॉलो करूंगा। मैंने 3 जगह बारी पे मार्क किया है और सीधे ओडेंस उसके बाद किया है, क्योंकि उसके बीच का रास्ता ना मेरा अलग है, तो वो थोड़ा घूम के पड़ता है। आपका वाला रास्ता ज़्यादा बेटर है, सीधा सीधा है, ज़्यादा घूमना नहीं है। तो वो मुझे याद नहीं है, इसलिए आपको वहाँ तक फॉलो करूंगा, जर्मनी तक। बस 1 मिनट दीजिएगा मुझे। चलिए विकी भाई।
हम्म, अगरबत्ती वगैरह सब दे दिया ना,
यस
नारियल
यस।
नींबू मिर्ची सब डाल दिए।
जय हो बाबा भोलेनाथ, कितने दिन के बाद आए हैं।
शायद इस साल में पहली बार।
हाँ।
वो भी मार्च में।
मैं ज्वाइन कर सकता हूँ को।
आप वो पोटैटो हो क्या? हेलो।
कौन?
हाँ भाई।
हाँ वही पोटैटो हो क्या?
तो
इसका पहले आपका क्या नाम था, जिसको ज्वाइन करने से पहले?
जियोलॉजिकल
सॉरी सॉरी।
मैं कल ही ज्वाइन हुआ।
ओके।
यहीं से करना था ना विकी भाई? अरे बाबा अभी प्रोमोट लिया नहीं है क्या? बोल तो रहा था कि ग्रीस ले लिया है।
उसका पास है डॉक्टर साहब, लेकिन वो क्या है ना, थोड़ा लग गया है लंका।
मैं ज्वाइन कर सकता हूँ।
और आप कर सकते हो, लेकिन हम प्रोमोट्स पे हैं। हेलो। बस
हाँ
प्रोमोट्स है,
टाउन में
मतलब प्रोमोट्स के लिए आपके पास सारे डीएलसी होना चाहिए। क्या है क्या आपके पास, मतलब मैप डीएलसी? सिर्फ बेस गेम है क्या आपके पास?
क्या है?
अपने अपने सारे मैप डीएलसी खरीद लिया है क्या?
सारे कौन से चीज़ है?
ये प्रोमोट थोड़ा एक्सटेंबल मैप है,
आप लोग ले
इसके
लो।
लिए
Forgive, I don't
सारे
know. She
DLC
said some supportive things about some members of the Catholic Church who had been found out to be perhaps not as godlike as they should have been, right? she also, the reference to PPE, didn't she reuse needles or something and had some questions? Whether you want to cancel out the career of someone who spent her whole life being selfless for that, that's up to you. I think it's a bit harsh. Dr. Arup Chattery, who's a native of Calcutta. You see, we don't know where this show is going some days, and I like it like that. Sometimes I don't like it running order. It's nicer to come in and just go.
इसका टोटल में 30-10 था ना
Dr.
भाई?
Arup
36.
Chattery, who's a native of Calcutta as it used to be, wrote a book in 2003 which researched the, quote, cult of suffering in homes run by Mother Teresa's organisation, the Missionaries of Charity. Over years of research, he uncovered accounts of children tied to their beds, nothing but aspirin being given to dying patients, and hypodermic needles being reused. Okay, there it is. It's not great, is it? It's not great. But, you know, let he who is without sin cast the first stone, Samuel. You've never tied anyone to a bed. It's not what you told me last weekend. If you would like to add anything to any of the discussions that we have currently going on, then please let me know. It's an extraordinary thing to say. 0345 6060 973. It's the phone number. It's also the WhatsApp number. Make the most of the next 8.5 minutes, because it ain't getting any lighter after 5 o'clock. You know that thing where we said we gently ease you into a gear change? That ain't happening. Not today. Oh no. We're going straight into it. Gaza and then Ukraine. Boom, boom. Boris Becker. Just like that. Katie says, not everyone who believed in God hates people of other religions. God is love. Also, I'm an Arsenal fan. My brother is a Spurs fan. We get on brilliantly because we are different. I think the rivalry between Arsenal and Spurs is a little different to what's going on in Gaza, but, you know, I understand the comparison, perhaps.
Martha Dark. If they're sterilised, yeah, well, I think that's no. You wouldn't suggest that. I don't know, Ryan, but you know, I remain open on this. I'm open-minded about Elon Musk, hero or villain. I think more hero than villain, but he's got to be careful with some of the things he's doing and saying. I just found that headline: "World's richest man sacks toilet cleaner in National Park." And that's what he did. He just sacked all the cleaners in, wasn't Yellowstone, was it? It was Yosemite, I think it was. It just beggars belief, you know. It's like Jim Ratcliffe. Jim Ratcliffe, who spent 24 million quid, I've said this before, on compensation for Eric Ten Hag, but saved about 600 quid on sellotape, apparently, that they have in the training grounds or something. I mean, it's just quite bizarre. And he sacked 450 people. I suppose, if you are rich, as they both are, obviously, do you have to be ruthless? Can you be nice? I mean, is Bill Gates nice? Well, he's trying to cure malaria, so he gives away most of his money, I think. I don't know what his kids feel about that, but that's something different, isn't it? Has he been cancelled yet? I don't think so. Paul says, Ian, what time are you going to bed? My new start time is 5 a.m, but I'm struggling. Paul, you can go to bed. Just have us tinkling on in the background. You know, as long as you register as a listener, We've got, we hit the 200 mark about 7 days ago. So we've got 206 listeners now. So, you know, as long as you register as a listener, we don't care. We just want your money. Nothing else. Ian, I'm outside my house, says Tim. What? Really? Cleaning gutters and fixing roofing? You're in Australia because you're getting ready for Cyclone Alfred is about to hit in Australia. Oh, batten down the hatches, literally. I'm outside my house cleaning gutters and fixing roofing as Cyclone Alfred approaches the Sunshine Coast. First one in 50 years, climate change. Neem Danker, says Tim. I'm not sure what that German means. Could you just check for me, boys and girls next door, boys actually, about this cyclones and cyclones, hurricanes, and what's the other one? Typhoons. Which ones spin? Tornado. No, tornadoes are land-based, aren't they? These are things that brew in the sea, I think. Hurricanes spin clockwise, do they? I think all those pictures that you see on the weather maps show them spinning one way, and I'm pretty sure down under it's the other way. But, you know, I stand to be corrected. Today is a day of corrections. Ian, literally a metre either side of the equator, the rotational direction of water emptying from a sink or bowl reverses. Does it really? Gosh, literally a metre either side of the equator. That's amazing, isn't it? Oh, you've sent me a little picture of this here. So this is a, what have we got here? Northern Hemisphere thing. And Northern Hemisphere is going anti-clockwise, yeah? And then you literally cross the equator border and it's going the other way around. 7 Northern Hemisphere. Very, very good. So what do? They get a bowl and they put they've got a hole in the bottom and then they put a little flower in the water. Flower as in a petal rather than the thing you make bread with. And it's been the Coriolis effect. Thank you. And we're learning about cyclones, hurricanes and typhoons are all names for the same tropical storm. Okay? They occur where it's very humid. If you've ever been to Florida, which I have a couple of times, there's an electrical storm every night, really, I think, and it's so humid. We went to the Disney parade once. We just had to leave. We were so gasping, and we had a very small baby as well, which wasn't a great idea. The parade, we actually had to leave the parade, and it was like, oh, I've got to get back to the aircon. It's something that you never say in Britain, isn't it? Hurricanes, they form in the North Atlantic and Northeast Pacific Oceans. Yes. Typhoons form in the Northwest Pacific Ocean and cyclones form in the South Pacific and Indian Oceans. Could you check whether they spin different ways? Because I'm pretty sure they do. And again, I think, is it the same principle? Northern Hemisphere. So Northern Hemisphere, that would be off the coast of Florida, wouldn't it? But the one that's going to hit you is Southern Hemisphere in Queensland. Is it not? I think. Let's have a look. What else are you saying? Is that a thumbs up from different spins? Okay. Scouse Paul says, hello, I'm Scouse Paul and I'm in Windsor. Okay, great. Love the show. Going to hit the gym, then celebrate Shrove Tuesday with loads of pancakes. Yes, well, yes. Morning, Martha. Looking forward to the next hour. Are you? People were discourteous the last time we did a programme on this BBC thing. So just... You may have strong feelings, and I know that feelings go both ways, but please, can you be respectful when you speak to people who work here? All right, sorry, what's that?
आवाज में बहुत स्लो आ रहा है।
Cancel me, Mother Teresa.
हाँ, मैं बोल रहा हूँ।
But just, you know,
15 से 30 मिनट का अंदर मैं भी हो सकता है मैं।
ठीक है।
The only people I ever don't want are people who do things illegal, get us cancelled, or have no opinion. Okay, we don't do BBC. We are opinionated. That's kind of what we did, and that's why I was so. I said this the other day.
मैं भी उतने देर में मार्केट में एक छोटा सा काम है, जाके कर लेंगे।
After Roman Kemp left Jordan North, I saw the other day. And I
20 minutes लगेगा मुझे।
Just the difference between here and the BBC.
आपको जब भी जाना होगा बोलिएगा।
No, everything is a committee over there, and that's not. I'm not going to have a go at the BBC because I am enormous amount to the BBC and everything they do, and I still think they're a beacon. It's
ये
like
जॉब करके एक बार वहाँ चलेंगे।
Without people that are
प्रोमोट।
what's the point of the royal family? Donald Trump's respect. There you are. There's a reason straight away. There's the one people he will never criticise is our royal family. He'll have a go at Meghan and Harry because he's on safe ground. But there we go. Right, so there we go. Back down the hatches, metaphorically, this end as well, because we're going to talk about Gaza and we're going to talk about the fact that the BBC are at the Culture Committee today. And also Ofcom are now thinking of joining in. That time.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
विकी भाई आप टॉल क्रॉस कर गए क्या?
Global's newsroom at 5 o'clock. Donald
टोल
Trump
क्रॉस कर
has
गए क्या?
paused military aid to
कहाँ पर
Ukraine
है?
as he seeks to pressure President
बारी वाला टोल क्रॉस कर गए?
into committing to
हाँ,
peace talks.
नेपल्स नहीं नेपल्स
Reviewing its position to ensure that it's contributing
क्या
to
क्या
a
हुआ?
solution. It follows the
मैं
two
तो
leaders'
वहीं
meeting
हूँ,
clash
टोल
at
के
the
पास हूँ,
White House
आगे।
last week.
अरे आप आए
Nichols from the Telegraph says the US wants the war with Russia over
आप अभी टोल
as quickly
नहीं
as
क्रॉस किए क्या?
They're still willing
Cross-
to bring power politics. They see Russia, for reasons that I can't quite fathom, as a great power. So
रुक गया।
they want a rapprochement with Russia, and Ukraine is just an embarrassing speed bump to be gotten out of the way to get to that rapprochement. And Zelensky is not playing ball. He's not just rolling over and letting them have their win.
President Trump will impose 25% tariffs on goods from Mexico and Canada from today. The White
आप
House
रुक गए
is
थे क्या?
threatening to force American
नहीं, नहीं, नहीं,
traders to take
पीछे ही था मैं।
action to curb
हुआ
illegal
क्या?
immigration
हाँ,
and
चलिए आ गए।
trafficking. Mr. Trump's confirmed he's also doubling the tax on Chinese imports to 20%. Police in Germany have confirmed 2 people died after a car drove into a crowd in the city of Mannheim. An 83-year-old woman and 54-year-old man were killed yesterday, and another 5 people were seriously hurt.
बढ़ा दीजिए विकी भाई, हमारा फुल स्पीड है।
40-year-old German man. A survey suggests most head teachers have had abuse from parents in the last year. LBC's Tom Harrigan has more details.
82% of those questioned by the National Association of Head Teachers said they'd personally experienced abuse. A similar number said the problem had got worse in the past 3 years. More than 40% of head teachers had had to ban parents from school premises in the last 12 months. The Department for Education says it's committed to turning the tide on poor behaviour.
Nottingham Forest will play Brighton in the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. They got past Ipswich 5-4 on penalties after a 1-1 draw in the 5th round last night. Forest boss Nuno Espirito Santo says his side are giving it a real go.
Every game is important, but you know when a decisive game like this one and realizing what is ahead of us, it's a huge moment for us as a club.
In the city, the FTSE 100 will reopen this morning at 88.71 after closing up 61 yesterday. The pound buys $1.26 and the euro 21. LBC weather, plenty of sunshine across England and Wales today. Cloudier skies elsewhere with wet and windy weather moving into northern Scotland. A high of 12 Celsius. From Global's newsroom for
ये कौन सा नया जगह आ रहा है?
Thomas Woods. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Ian Payne.
Good morning. We make no apology for doing a couple of heavy topics to come. The world is a very serious place at the moment. So, with respect to levity, can I introduce, well, at 6 o'clock we'll talk about Trump's decision to pause any aid to Ukraine, whether it will make a difference or not. I think it probably will, don't you? And the preceding hour we're going to talk about, well, the news line is that Ofcom have written to the BBC and are considering investigating this documentary about Gaza, about the 3 children who do pieces to camera and just talk about their lives. It's been very controversial. The anti-Semitism lobby first protested outside the BBC. The BBC then withdrew the programme, although it had been broadcast on BBC One or 2. And then they removed it from the iPlayer. Then a group of media people, including Gary Lineker, Miriam Margolis, wrote a letter saying, don't do that, you know, you're showing bias on one side or the other. So now Ofcom have got involved, bless them, and they've written the following letter, Renner, and this is to Samir Shah, Dr. Samir Shah, CBE and the chair of the BBC, who along with Tim Davie, who is the Director General of the BBC, are appearing before a scheduled and routine Commons committee for the culture department, but it'll be dominated by questions about this. So this is from Michael Grade, who is the CEO of Ofcom now, Lord Grade of Yarmouth. I am writing following the BBC's recent statement on the initial review conducted by BBC News into the making of the above programme. providing duly accurate and impartial news, current affairs and factual programming lies at the heart of the BBC's mission and public purposes, and its content should be provided to the highest editorial standards. BBC has publicly acknowledged there were serious failings in the production of this programme which have raised important questions that the BBC must answer. Ofcom has ongoing concerns about the nature and gravity of these failings and the negative impact they have on the trust audience place in BBC's journalism. It is crucial that the causes of those errors are investigated and that systems are put in place to ensure they cannot recur. As you are aware, in accordance with the BBC First approach and our published procedures, see, BBC is just tied up in knots over just all these forms and programmes that they have. So basically he said, oh no, Ofcom will ordinarily only accept a complaint that has first been considered by the BBC. In exceptional circumstances, Ofcom may intervene to handle and resolve a complaint which has not been resolved by the BBC. You wonder why these things turn into some kind of farcical, you know, W1, that series that sort of laughed at the BBC, and it is like this, and particularly in management circles as well. It's endless. Whether we decide to, which is why it's so surprising that they didn't really do due diligence on this thing, whether we decide to intervene at an earlier stage will depend on the relevant facts in each case. We have decided at this stage to give the BBC the opportunity to conduct its own investigations into this programme, as the BBC board has decided. We're nearly there, I promise. We expect the investigation into complaints being led by the Editorial Complaints Unit and the have we got one of those? And the fact-finding review led by Peter Johnston to be conducted as thoroughly as possible with the full scrutiny of the BBC board. We will continue to keep... Honestly, you'd think someone had died. We will continue to keep the situation under close review and will expect regular updates from the BBC regarding both timeframes and progress, and reserve the right to use our powers to step in. I can't go on. But anyway, what did you glean from that? Was anyone listening right to the end? So basically they're saying we might intervene. That's a long way of saying we might intervene. Now, interestingly, another line has come out. I think it came originally from the Telegraph, although the other papers and all the news wires have picked on it. So Channel 4 actually used the same boy to do a piece for theirs. Channel 4 News featured the son of a Hamas official in its award-winning Gaza coverage. For 7 months, Channel 4 News broadcast footage of Abdullah al-Yazuri, who was then 13, without disclosing he was the son of Dr. Ayman al-Yazuri, the Deputy Agriculture Minister in Gaza, Hamas's run government. At one point, the programme reported that Abdullah was, quote, selling chocolate on the streets of Rafah to make a living and to help support his family. And if you don't believe me, here is a clip of the young man himself in the Channel 4 piece.
Why? I didn't choose this fate. Nobody. From a student to a seller. Why? Why? I didn't choose this fate. Nobody chose this fate. Israel chose this fate for me. From a...
Locked out there. But anyway, praised by critics, Channel 4 News has won at least 6 awards for its coverage of the Israel-Hamas war. Both the Royal Television Society and the Press Gazette named it News Programme of the Year for 2024. It won the same honour at the Broadcast Awards this year. The programme won a BAFTA, Channel 4 News, and an International Emmy for war reporting, while reporters including Secunda Kamani, the foreign affairs correspondent, earned individual awards. However, yesterday, the RTS, which named the show Network Daily News Programme of the Year last February, told the Telegraph the award was now under review. It's either a good programme or it's not. Abdullah is also the teenager who narrated the BBC's now discredited documentary Gaza, How to Survive a War Zone. I've seen most of it. It's excellent. It's really good. And, you know, at one point a surgeon literally, he amputates this poor boy's arm and holds the arm up and says, that's what we're dealing with here. And he's like, you can see he's going through severe depression about stuff like this. He saved the boy's life, but, you know... Anyway, Abdullah is also the teenager who narrated the BBC's programme. The corporation failed to identify the boy as the son of... See how difficult it is for the BBC. No mention of Channel 4 at all, and controversy at all. But when the BBC does it, they are held to a far higher scrutiny. And despite repeatedly asking the production company, they did not know that his mother had been paid for his participation. I think she got 700 quid or something like that, which, you know, news alert, broadcasters and papers pay people for interviews. They do. Channel 4 News told this newspaper its journalists learned Abdullah's true identity last summer, but only added an online clarification when David Collier, the investigative journalist, made it publicly recently. Between November 23 and April 24, Channel 4 News repeatedly featured Abdullah, presenting him as an ordinary citizen under a different name while misidentifying his uncle as a father. Would you want to name somebody? Would it put them in danger? Possibly. Yeah, I would have thought so, wouldn't it? The problem is with all this is that Israel, I'm not having a go at Israel, I'm not taking sides here, but they won't allow foreign journalists into Gaza for whatever reason, for their own safety, although journalists have died, but not necessarily, you know, Western journalists. They aren't allowed in, so we have to rely on stuff like this to see it. And it's an excellent documentary, and the thing about this boy and why they use him, I don't think it's got anything to do with who his parents are. It's because he speaks really good English, you know, and he's seen it all, and he's one of the people that goes around on a cart and he's selling little things to try and make a living and all the rest of it. And again, I'm not picking sides. I'm just wondering, what should Ofcom investigate? That's quite a dry question, I think. And I think my assertion would be, and if you want to get in touch, please give us a ring. 0345 6060 I know opinions are very strong on this, but I don't really see what all the fuss is about, to be honest. Am I missing something? I mean, I know people say the fact that he's the son of a Hamas official, okay, fine, you could say that he's biased in everything he does, but you know what you see is actually happening. It's not fake news, as it were. And sometimes to get a good documentary, you've got to get people with opinions, you've got to get people who are affected, and everybody in Gaza is obviously affected. I think it's a documentary that people should see, don't you? I mean, we've seen so many documentaries about October the 7th, and they're equally horrendous. Possibly even more so. I don't know. It's difficult to say one's worse than the other, but you know, when you have fanatic-driven politics, this is what you get, I'm afraid. People who will never see the other point of view.
हमको ट्रेन जैसा हॉर्न बजाने में बड़ा मजा आता है.
I can't see any way in which this can ever end. So, I think it's an important bit of journalism. What do you think? Yeah? 0344, like I say, I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen a lot of it. I've followed a lot of the discussion, and the main discussion seems to be from people who don't like what was in it. They don't like the fact that this could be biased. They think that it will be one-eyed. They think that this cameraman, who allegedly, I haven't found that yet, but apparently he liked, somebody said something about October the 7th, and it was kind of like, well, they had it coming to, or something like that, and he liked it on his profile or something. But I've found it quite difficult to find that, because obviously that has been deleted or hidden away or whatever. So yeah, so that's my question would be, what is all the fuss about? You know, we make documentaries about wars everywhere, and this was told by, it was a personal perspective, you know. It's a child, you know, and there's three children. I think there's a suggestion that one of the girls, the child who's in it, has a relative who's from Hamas. But you know, does that surprise you? Not really. You know, maybe as the son of a politician in Hamas, I know he's selling stuff to try and make some money, but you know, where did he learn English? He's obviously had an education of some kind, I would have thought, and it's much easier to hear a boy talking in English than it is just to have subtitles or whatever. And Channel 4 as well, they're actually considering removing an award for journalism because it might have been a bit one-eyed, you know. It's come from one person. Well, the whole point of this Middle East conflict, and the great tragedy is that no one else, the few people involved can actually do anything other than see it from just one perspective. And that's the problem, isn't it, really? So give me a ring. Here's the number, the only number that you need these days. Oh, sorry it's so heavy, but, you know, sometimes that's just the nature of the news process. So give us a call. This is the same number to ring us as it is to WhatsApp us, okay? It's all the same number now. 0345 6060 973. Ring now, you will get through. 0345 6060 973. The WhatsApp number is the same, 0345 6060 973. If you want to text, you can still do so. It's the same old number, 84850, or you can now ask Alexa to send a comment, but please include your name. Tell me what you think. I don't quite get why this is causing such... I mean, I understand why people who sympathise with Israel are upset about it. I can understand why they get upset about it, but I don't really... They haven't done their due diligence. Okay. Should Channel 4 lose its award? That's another question, really. Tell me why this is so important, because everything that comes out of the Middle East is biased, isn't it? Really? I would have thought. Every time there's an IDF spokesman on, they're only speaking on behalf of Israel. Of course they believe what they say. If you had a spokesperson on from Hamas, not that we ever hear from them, you'd get a one-eyed response. Just look at the statements that they come out with. Why did Israel suddenly just block any aid going in? You know, it's the same thing, because they say they don't trust Hamas. They say they've reneged on the ceasefire agreement, and Hamas says exactly the same thing about Israel. Never the twain, to be honest. There's never a conciliatory statement. Never. Is there? It's 16 minutes past. That's what I think. So the Israeli billionaire who's lent some of the hostages her private jet to go and see Donald Trump to plead, because these hostages and their families don't think that the Netanyahu government is doing enough to release them. They don't think they're being conciliatory enough. These are the people who have suffered the most, and they're the ones who are upset. So, you know, 0345 6060 973. Should Channel 4 lose its award? Should the BBC have an Ofcom complaint upheld against them? They haven't done their due diligence, but you can understand why, can't you? 0345 6060 973. What is the fuss about? I get it, but I don't think it's reasonable, that's all. It's 17 past 5. Let's say good morning to Joanne Webb.
Thanks, Ian. Good morning. Lewisham High Street is closed northbound from Ladywell Road up to the fire station, and that's because of emergency repair work. So all the buses that usually go that way are on diversion. And then also in Lewisham, Manworth Road is closed in both directions. Better news at the Blackwall Tunnel. Some emergency repair works were taking place southbound, but they've now finished. But do expect delays again this morning on the M26 westbound to the M25 junction, and that's because of the ongoing repair works.
This is LBC. Here comes Steve, with the satisfied smile of a man who's checking out at midday after a great night's sleep and a delicious unlimited brekkie. See the untamable bedhead hair, and if you look really close, you can see that properly well-rested glow, which can only be one thing. Last night he slept at Premier Inn. Get better sleep for your money. Premier Inn. Rest easy. Breakfast subject to availability. T's and C's apply.
I've got a new Samsung Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra and a nice tan. I saw this gorgeous beach on my socials. Just drew a circle round it with my finger, and Circle to Search with Google helped me find it. Now I'm here. Circle to sunbathe. Buy a Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra from Samsung.com by the 31st of March and get an AI book cover keyboard for your new tablet. Keyboard automatically added to basket. Colour may vary. Requires network connection. Results may vary.
Ian Pay on LBC. Listen on your smart speaker. Just say, play LBC.
So we are looking at 2 new revelations, and there'll be more by the end of the day, because the chair of the BBC board and also the Director General of the BBC are appearing before MPs today in the Culture Committee well, it's a routine one, it's a scheduled meeting, but no doubt it will be dominated by questions about this. And I just wonder, Ofcom have now written to the BBC saying, look, after you've done your investigation, we reserve the right to file an official complaint And now it's been revealed that the same boy at the centre of the controversy, who's the son of a Hamas official, was actually used in many of Channel 4's award-winning programmes, on Channel 4 News' programmes. And now there's even a suggestion that the award that they were given by the Royal Television Society is being reviewed, which sounds ridiculous to me. It's either a good piece of journalism or it's not. I just want to know why so much fuss is being made about this. It's good journalism, if you ask me, I think. Jamie's a first-time caller from Finchley. Good morning.
Good morning, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. What about you?
Yeah, fine, thank you. So, a quick point. What you didn't mention was a deliberate mistranslation of what the boy was saying. Which is, so every time he said Jew, Yehud, they changed it to Israel. So when he was saying, we're at war with the Jews, we're going to do this to the Jews, we're going to do that to the Jews, they changed it to Israel. Every time he said jihad, which is holy war, they changed it just to war. So what they've actually done, they've tried to sort of downplay the root cause of the situation, which is their hatred of Jews. It's not about land, they want to kill the Jews. And that's what he said. He said it many times, but they mistranslated it every single time. And they could have only done that for one reason, and that is to try and make the world think that it's about land, it's not about anti-Semitism, it's not about hatred of Jews. And I think that's the most important point, which you didn't mention.
Okay. I'm not here to contest facts. I'm not here to try and convince people they're right or they're wrong. I would literally just like to hear people's opinions.
I'm just telling you, they mistranslated what the kids said, and that's really, really important, and that's deliberate as well. It's not an accident.
And you speak Arabic?
No, I don't speak Arabic, but I know what Yehud means in Arabic, which is Jew. And if you said you watched the documentary, you must have heard him say Yehud many times. Yeah. And if you could wait, I don't know if you recorded it, you can't watch it again. No. Every time he said Yehud, they said Israel. Every time he said jihad, they said war.
Okay.
And also, by the way, this is not something a revelation. This is out there. I'm surprised you didn't mention it. This is out there. Many articles, many news reports on it. So it's not secret. Let's put it that way. It's public knowledge, what I've just said.
Why will Israel not allow foreign journalists in?
Well, I'm not Israeli. I can't speak for Israel. I'm just telling you a fact. They changed the translation of what he said.
Okay, that being said,
I'm not a representative of Israel. I'm not a representative of the IDF.
All right.
I'm just telling you a fact.
Okay. Does that invalidate the programme?
Well, I think so.
Why?
I think it absolutely does. How do we know? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if the guy is speaking in a foreign language, right, and they translated it in something different to what he's saying,
right?
That's a whole basis that brings into question the whole truth of everything.
Joystick के साथ.
Don't you think so? Don't you think
Joystick.
you're watching a documentary and someone speaking in a foreign language and they mistranslate what he said? Don't you think that's important?
I do think it's important, but I can understand why they've done it. I don't think it's because they...
Hang on, why would they have done it? Why would they have changed a specific word, Jew, to Israel? Why would they have done it? I can understand why they've done it, but why would you said you can understand why they've done it?
Well, I guess they felt it would be offensive and would invalidate the programme. No?
No, they wanted to hide the anti-Semitism. In my opinion, they wanted to hide the anti-Semitism, which is really important in this conflict. I mean, Hamas's charter specifically states they want to kill every Jew. It's a really important fact in this conflict. If it was for land, they would have made peace a long time ago. Right? Okay. I mean, I know you haven't time for this, but I can give you so many examples of that.
Go on.
Okay, I'll give you an example. So Israel took the West Bank in
मुझे लगा आपको स्पीड जाना है.
Right, and they took West Jerusalem in 1967. Between 1948 and 1967, there was no demand for a Palestinian state. Oh, by the way, Jordan ruled those areas between 1948 and 1967. During those years, there was no call for a Palestinian state. The PLO wasn't actually started till 1964. And the reason why there was no call is because they were quite happy to be part of an Arab country. It's the Jews they don't want, which is why it only started in 1967. You know, the PLO only started us in 1964. Prior to 1967,
Can I
there
give
was
you?
no call for-
Can I give you a direct translation of a word that's sometimes often misunderstood?
Yeah.
Jihad doesn't actually mean holy war, does it? Doesn't it translate to striving or doing one's utmost?
Right, okay. I mean, listen, okay, listen, I just read the translation of it, and they call it holy war. What did it melt? Okay, so now you're talking about the context.
No, I'm just saying, look, that you know, people's opinions vary on things, don't they? I'm not saying, I mean, what you're saying, I'm quite more than happy to believe that that's what's happened here. And that does feel a bit uncomfortable.
Don't take my word for it, it's out there. It's out there everywhere. I can't believe you haven't heard it. Am I the first person to tell you about this mistranslation?
Yes.
Have you not heard about it before this?
No.
Well, it is out there, Ian. I haven't made it up.
No, listen, I'm not believing you. I'm glad that you've pointed it out. And if someone wants to comment on what you've said, then absolutely fine.
Okay.
Does that invalidate the whole program? Yes, it is important, and you've made that point. But do you think it invalidates the whole program? And do you think Channel 4's award-winning program should have its award reviewed?
Well, okay, so you know what?
Because he speaks in English, you see, in that one.
I'll answer that question. I haven't seen the Channel 4.
Right. The boy speaks English in that one.
I understood, but the first I heard about their award being under review was on your program 10 minutes ago.
Okay, yeah.
So I need to read a bit more about that. I need to think about that. I can't really give an opinion.
Front page of the...
But I do think when they mistranslate and hide other information, you take it all together, I think it goes to the editorial intent of the program.
Would you be prepared to just stay on the line while I introduce someone who slightly disagrees?
You know what? I'm actually a bit about.
All right, no worries. No, absolutely fine. Off you go. Off you go. No, I don't want to keep you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, if you want to put things right, if we make factual errors, we have to be corrected. I'm absolutely fine with that. I don't think it invalidates the program. Robert's in Hong Kong. Good morning.
Hello, Ian.
Hi.
Thank you very much for your balanced portrayal of this issue.
Trying.
It's brilliant. It's a lot better than a lot of other stations.
All right, good.
I just want to make the point, which is more important, one boy's connection to Hamas in one documentary, or the fact that 15,000 at least children have been blown to pieces in Israel, with full UK military and political support, which is more worthy of a big fuss.
The reasoning behind the fuss has been perfectly articulated by our last caller, who says it's not about the relation to detriment of people like this boy, who, according to people like our last caller, are just their whole ideal is to destroy Israel and the people that live there. And that's what they're... Forgive me for not using the J word, because if you keep using it, it offends people even more. I'm sure that's why they did that, because they don't want to offend people. But technically, yeah, if they've mistranslated it, then... But I would like to see more about that.
Well, I don't think it's about anti-Semitism at all. I would like to pay tribute to Miriam Margolis and all the other Jewish entertainment people who supported the keeping of this documentary on the iPlayer. Maximum love and respect to those people. I'm not an anti-Semite, I'm a humanitarian. I'm furious about our government's complicity in blowing 15,000 children to pieces.
Okay, well, I hear that, but you don't think that this mistranslation is actually an attempt to sort of hoodwink us all?
I think that is unprofessional and wrong, and I respect your previous caller's right to his opinion. And I speak some Arabic, and I know that the word Yahud means Jewish. So he has a legitimate grievance.
Well, I've got some facts now. We're doing some research. Campaign group, the Committee for Accuracy in Middle East Reporting and Analysis, they're called CAMERA, claim that the BBC mistranslated the Arabic words Yahud or Yehudi, meaning Jew or Jewish, as Israeli. The Telegraph says this was done at least 5 times in the programme. So
that's important. Has a point. And
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
totally.
well, maybe that's why that's such a fuss about it, because it's if it was just, I still don't think it invalid. You know, this boy has got these opinions because obviously he's related to someone who has the opinions as well. But just because he's got extreme opinions, does that invalidate a documentary? I'm not sure it does. It just shows you the depth of feeling. Well, we're trying. Thank you. All right, give our love to Hong Kong. I'm confused, Ian, said Sandra. Did they use a translator for the boy? As all the reports I'm reading day says English-speaking narrator. He is an English-speaking narrator. You've heard him talking in English. I must admit I didn't know about this mistranslation. I should have done, and I regret not having fully researched that enough. But I still don't think it invalidates the programme. And does it mean that you would withdraw a Royal Television Society award from Channel 4 News as well? But like I say, the Channel 4 News documentary that I've seen, the boy speaks English, and which is why I'm a little bit confused about why they needed translations and things. So yeah, the problem is, you see, it's not available, so we can't make our own. And this is the problem that I always see with censorship. If there was a documentary in Israel and it was the grandson of Netanyahu, of course, doing stuff to camera, would we still be making the same fun? I don't know. It's so difficult, isn't it? It's so difficult. But I understand now a little bit more about why people would be upset, if that is in fact the truth, which it appears to be. Okay? So, we turn the dial a little bit further, don't we? We've learned a little bit more about this. Tell me what you think of that. If you are someone who supports or doesn't like censorship, if you are someone who actually thinks this is a valid documentary and everybody should see it, aren't you uncomfortable about mistranslation of things that would be deemed offensive and, let's face it, racist and anti-Semitic? Interesting point. It's 5:30 here in the news headlines with Thomas Watts.
Donald Trump has paused military aid to Ukraine after his White House bust up with President Zelensky last week. Officials say the US is reviewing its position to ensure it's contributing to a solution to the Ukraine-Russia war. The US has confirmed 25% taxes on imports from Mexico and Canada will start today. The Trump administration is also doubling the tariff on Chinese goods coming into the country to 20%. And the UK is launching advertising in parts of Iraq to warn people of the dangers of crossing the English Channel. The Home Office initiative follows a social media campaign in Vietnam and Albania. LBC weather, plenty of sunshine across England and Wales. Cloudier skies elsewhere. Wet and windy weather moving into northern Scotland. A high of 12 degrees.
This is LBC. New customers get 12 months for the price of 11 at PetFinatic.co.uk.
हेलो
Use code 12 for 11.
क्या बोल रहे हैं?
Season
मैं बोला था ना रुकूंगा करके 15-20 मिनट के लिए।
हाँ ठीक है, तो ये हम लोग इटली का टोल आ गया है, उसको क्रॉस करके वहीं जाते हैं।
हाँ हाँ
क्रॉस करके आगे बढ़ा के पार्क मार दीजिएगा साइड।
Armed with the very latest in dental implant knowledge, technology, and
है क्या कुछ?
visit darwoodandtanner.co.uk.
पार्किंग के लिए है क्या उसमें? पार्किंग के लिए है क्या इसमें?
स्पेस तो आगे में ही लगा सकते हैं।
आगे भी एक
Smart speaker. Search offers on a Hyundai Tucson.
या फिर इधर पीछे घुसेड़ देती, इधर कोई नहीं लगाता, जिधर का फाटक कभी नहीं खुलता, मैं वहीं घुसेड़ दे रहा हूँ।
Discover the new Hyundai Tucson Hybrid. It's the dawn of a new Hyundai.
आपके पीछे लगा दे क्या आप?
नहीं ऐसे लगा नहीं।
Hyundai UK is a credit broker, not a lender. Terms apply.
Ian Pay on LBC. Call 0345 6060973.
Thank you to all of those of you who are trying to send me links to see this documentary in full. As I say, no one's really been allowed to see all of it, or very few people seem to have seen it, and it didn't cause a fuss when it first went out. But I'm trying to wade through all the ads at the moment, so forgive me, I probably won't be able to see it during the programme. So let's speak to Yisrael, who is in Barnet. Good morning.
Yes, hi, good morning, Ian. There's just really the point. The fact is that if he's the son of a Hamas official, that really should invalidate totally his commentary and the whole documentary. The equivalent would be that if you had a son of a an IRA terrorist, and Hamas are a terrorist organization,
Yep.
which I'm not sure has been mentioned.
मैं भी आता हूँ
That
विकी भाई 15
means
मिनट
that they target men, women, and children indiscriminately in order to